Have you ever looked at someone else's house and thought, I wish my house was peaceful like that? I used to think the difference was that they cleaned more, or that they just were naturally organized, or that they just had more energy than I did. But after decluttering 80% of everything I owned, I realized something. The biggest change wasn't how my house looked. It was how my home felt. Because having fewer things didn't just give me cleaner countertops, it gave me a quieter brain. And today I want to tell you what this actually feels like because nobody talks about this part. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Misty and here we talk about creating calm homes and calmer lives that actually work for busy women. Not perfection, just homes that support you instead of exhaust you. Let's get into it. This was one of the biggest things I noticed. My mornings became quieter. Before, every morning felt rushed and stressed. Where are the shoes? Who has my keys? Where is your lunchbox? Has anyone seen my wallet? Every tiny thing turned into a search mission. Now most things have their place. It's easier to look for them because there are fewer piles hiding them. So now mornings feel more quiet. Not because nothing ever goes wrong and my kids magically stopped fighting, but because there are a lot fewer fires to put out. That quietness is amazing. I lose things far less often. I used to buy things I already owned. Not because I like having duplicates, but because I genuinely didn't find them. Scissors, tape, sunscreen, phone chargers, hair ties, glue sticks. I would assume they were gone forever. Then a few months later, they would magically appear and now I had duplicates. Now I usually know where things are. And if I can't find something, I know there aren't 14 places they could be hiding. This alone saves me both time and money. Cleaning became maintenance instead of recovery. This is probably one of the biggest mindset shifts. Before, cleaning meant recovering and catching up from the week, recovering from the clutter, recovering from everything that had built up. It felt endless. Now, cleaning mostly means maintaining what's working. The floors still need vacuuming, the laundry still builds up, the bathroom still gets dirty, but I no longer spend hours moving things before I can clean. And that means I usually do cleaning throughout the week. And this has changed everything. My kids help more. This is a great one. I do get asked, how do you get your kids to help? Honestly, it has always been important to me to get the kids to be involved in taking care of the house. But our home simply feels more manageable now. When a room is overflowing with toys, kids just simply don't know where to start. It can feel impossible. But now, when we own fewer things, putting them away feels more manageable and more achievable. It's easier for my kids to see the progress and they know where things belong. And because the task isn't overwhelming, they're much more willing to help. I can actually relax. The difference with this one still amazes me. I used to sit down on the couch and my eyes would just scan the room. Laundry, papers, projects, random toys, piles. There was always something calling for my attention and I just couldn't relax. Now I can actually sit down with a cup of coffee and relax. I can look around and I can actually breathe. That feeling is priceless. I no longer panic when someone comes over. This used to be a huge source of stress. If someone said, "Can we come over tomorrow?" I would immediately start calculating. How many hours do I have? Can I clean tonight? Do I need to stay up late after the kids have gone to bed? Can I somehow hide everything? And birthdays, I used to spend an entire week to prepare the house. Not because I wanted everything to be perfect, but because it took that long to catch up. Now, if someone comes over unexpectedly, I maybe spend 10 minutes picking stuff up. I might wipe the kitchen counter, straighten a few pillows, and that's what it takes for me to feel ready for people to come over. And that freedom is incredible. My home gives me energy. This might be the biggest change of all. For years, I used to dream about having one of those Pinterest homes. Beautiful, bright, peaceful. I used to think it was all about the decor. The furniture, the paint colors, but it wasn't. What I was really craving was visual calm. Clear surfaces, space to breathe. Not because my home needed to impress anyone, but because my nervous system desperately needed less visual noise. Once I understood that, everything changed. I already talked about this a little bit, but weekends now feel completely different. I used to spend Saturdays catching up with everything. Laundry, cleaning, decluttering, removing piles, organizing things I had ignored all week, and by Sunday evening I felt exhausted. Now we still do chores, of course we do. Life still happens, but chores don't dominate the weekend plans anymore. Instead, we bake, we go outside, we do projects. I can sit down, relax and watch movies. We make memories. Because we are maintaining now instead of constantly recovering. That feels like getting part of my life back. Everyday chores feels manageable. The dishes still pile up, laundry still appear from out of nowhere, kids still make messes. Nothing magical happened, but here's the difference. Those normal life tasks isn't competing with hundreds of unnecessary possessions anymore. I'm not trying to manage life and excessive stuff at the same time anymore. So even when life gets busy, the house still feels manageable. And that feeling has lowered my stress more than I ever imagined. If you have watched this far, I hope you have noticed something. Almost none of these changes were about cleaning. They were about how I felt living inside my home. More peaceful, more rested, more present, more available for my kids, more available for myself. This is why I still believe that decluttering isn't really about getting rid of stuff. It's about creating space for the life you really want. If you're trying to create a calmer home too, I'd really love to have you here. Subscribe because every week I share practical ways to make your home feel lighter, calmer, and easier to manage without chasing perfection. And if you're wondering where to begin, I have linked my 15-minute reset guide below. It's the exact method I use when my home starts feeling overwhelming again. Finally, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Which one of these changes would make the biggest difference for you in your life right now? I would love to read your answers. See you in the next one.